Ardeshir Zaranzadeh, welcome to the Honest Report podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
We're very happy to have you here. We're recording this, of course, on the 11th of March. You're in Ottawa right now. You spent the day there trying to make the Iranian community's concerns voiced to the federal government. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, we had a demonstration in front of the Prime Minister's office today in Ottawa, and a group of concerned Iranian Canadians gathered, and we tried to reflect the voice of our community and raise some concerns regarding the safety and security of community, not just Persian and Iranian Canadian community, but also Jewish community and in general Canadians, because we believe that because of the presence of the Islamic regime's agents in Canada, Canada's safety and security is at risk, and they're threatening us because we are fighting for freedom and democracy. We are trying to remove the agents of the Islamic regime from Canada. We are supporting the movement on the inside of the country. We are speaking to politicians. We are doing court cases, etc. Different things. So the Islamic Republic is not happy and trying to intimidate, make threats, target dissidents, activists. So we believe that we needed to raise the voice, the concerns, and speak to the government. We communicated those concerns and demands to the government through our letters, but we also decided to have a demonstration in front of the Prime Minister's office to reflect those concerns. Also, we urged the government to take several steps to support the people of Iran for regime change in Iran.
So there's a couple components there, of course. One is, how do you rate the federal government's response to the war in the last week and a half?
Well, Prime Minister supported the regime change, then the military intervention, and then he took his word back, changed his position multiple times. Probably it's in his head that it's the right thing to do to support the people of Iran in terms of humanitarian military intervention and other ways. But then we see that Canada is not, establishing a position so we can rely on it. Obviously, one of the reasons that we're communicating with Prime Minister's office and we had the demonstration in front of his office to reflect our concerns that the Iranian-Canadian community relies on Canada. And Canada's government are liberals, and we rely on liberals to do something for the Iranians. Iranians are under threat. Over 43,000 Iranians and civilians was killed in the streets of Iran for simply asking for freedom. And their demands were responded by brutal violence. And what is happening is basically meeting the definition of crime against humanity in Iran. And Canada is a long-standing, has the long-standing position in regard to supporting civilians, supporting peace and human rights globally. And Canada signed international commitments to protect civilians, to protect human rights. And what's happening on the inside is crime against humanity and the grave human rights violation, mass killing. So basically, what happened, Iranians asked the US government and Israeli governments to intervene, to respond to the mass atrocities. And it is on the international community to do that. And that was what the people of Iran were asking. So government of Canada, as I said, very committed to international law. And under the international law, Islamic Republic has been committing crime against humanity, not for the first time, for many times in the past. But this time is different because they killed over 43,000 just in 2 days. And the world is going to be silent about it. Obviously, it's the people of Iran asking for intervention. If the Canadian government is not going to support the military intervention, they can figure out how or in what way they can contribute to the situation to help people of Iran support their demands and support the regime change.
Neil, beyond military, are there other ways that you see that Ottawa can lend its support to the people of Iran at this time? I mean, the IRGC is listed as a terrorist group. At the same time, we see that there are some 700 Iranian operatives in this country. We've seen a spate of attacks in the last few days, presumably carried out by pro-regime forces against synagogues, Iranian dissidents, the U.S. consulate. What other ways, in your mind, can the Canadian government support the people of Iran and combat the influence and tentacles of the regime?
Well, Canada is in a position to help the people of Iran. First, let me tell you, the international mechanism already failed because the United Nations never able to respond to the demands of the Iranian people, and the Human Rights Council, the Security Council, General Assembly, Human Rights Rapporteur, they did good job in the past by documenting the human rights violation and holding the regime responsible, but the system was failed because they could not stop the atrocities, the mass killings, the crimes against humanity. So this time it was the people of Iran asked for intervention, for support, because they kept killing people of Iran. And on February 14 of this year, over 400,000 Iranian Canadians and their allies took to the streets of Toronto and asked the same thing: intervention, support. So if Canada doesn't want to join the forces, Canada can try other avenues. Canada believes that there should be a way through diplomacy. But as I mentioned, international mechanism failed, and I believe diplomacy failed. And the reason for a military intervention, because those channels are already closed for Iranian people. There is no way you go through diplomacy. How diplomacy going to help? But if the government of Canada has a proper answer for that, we would love to hear it. What I want to see from the government is to support the people of Iran, not to negotiate. If the diplomacy means negotiating with Islamic Republic, it is not acceptable for people of Iran. It's not supporting people of Iran. It is saving Islamic Republic of Iran. And the other thing is, we have presence of foreign agents in Canada, and foreign interference already established by the commissioner. So we want the government of Canada to remove that foreign influence. We want the government of Canada to remove the foreign agents, and especially Islamic Republic agents in Canada who are operating here, who are supporting the Islamic extremist ideology in Canada. It doesn't have to be directly an agent of the regime. Anyone trying to support that ideology, that dangerous ideology, because I believe that this is a psychological warfare against Canadians, against Iranian Canadian community, against against Jewish community and other communities. So this has to be stopped. Those threats we receive these days are the results of the presence of those ideological mentality in Canada. And the government of Canada has to find a proper way to deal with that.
Now, tell us a little bit about what the feelings are of the Iranian community in this country, because on one hand, you see these mass protests, hundreds of thousands of people. At the same time, you see news media outlets typically focusing on these very fringe, marginal voices who say very other different things, seemingly in opposition to the large majority of Iranians in this country. So help us understand a little bit the dynamics on the ground.
How many Iranian Canadians attended the demonstrations to support the people of Iran in Canada? On February 14 of this year, over 400,000 Iranian Canadians joined the rally. Toronto police estimation was over 350,000. And weeks before that, there were a number of other protests. We had in downtown Toronto, in Richmond Hill. So over 200,000 joined those protests, those rallies. And those protesters, participants, chanted slogans. Trump act now. They asked for military intervention. They chanted slogans to remove the IRGC agents and regime influence from Canada. So if most of the Iranians in Canada joined the rally and asked for that, then you tell me how many Iranians are supporting the regime in Canada? Just very little, just probably a couple hundred. But that couple hundred are very dangerous because their presence in Canada is raising security concerns because of what happened in Canada in the past few days.
Now, of course, it's one thing to talk about the community in this country, but in Iran itself, there's very little. There's internet's been shut down, other than some Starlink terminals. There's very little internet access, and we don't really know what's going on. Plus, of course, fear of repression. But even with that, tell us a little bit about what you're hearing and what you're seeing from inside the country, inside Iran, from the people themselves.
That's true. There is no communication. Internet totally is shut down, and we hear that people are, trying to go to different areas, to different cities, to save their families. Obviously, the families in Canada have a hard time to connect and speak to their families on the inside of the country. And at the same time, we believe that the Canadian government can help them to have access to free internet. It's our government's long-standing tradition to support the civil societies, to support the countries need free internet, especially in this very critical moment. The Iranians are in a grave need of internet and access to their families on the outside, and also need internet for their movement. So in my letter to the Prime Minister, and also in the demonstration in front of the Prime Minister's office, we asked the Prime Minister and the government of Canada to support Iranians in terms of access to internet. And this is one thing that government can do. So when the government says we support the Iranians, we want to see something in real world, in practice. We understand that they're supporting Iranian people. We understand that they made statements, but the time for statements passed. We need to see something proper and concrete that is happening from the government in support of the Iranian people.
And here's one of the things is that a lot of people, they have this picture and memory of post-traumatic stress, if you will, of Iraq, of Afghanistan, and a lot of people are looking at Iran and saying, oh, this is just 3.0, this is the exact same thing. Tell us a little bit about how Iran is different and the situation is different than what we've seen in the past in Afghanistan and Iraq.
It's very simple. Iran is not Afghanistan or Iraq. Iran has a united opposition, and we are going to build a transitional government to establish democracy in Iran, and people will be able to vote for their choice of government. And we have Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, who is the figure of this movement. And at the same time, the foreign involvement is not by accident or by purpose that they wanted to invade Iran. This is not a war against Iran. This is not to go to destroy the country. This is military intervention because the people of Iran asked for that. Did people of Afghanistan ask for war, or people of Iraq? No. It was the U.S. plan. This is not U.S. plan. U.S. tried until very last minute to sign a deal with Supreme Leader, to sign a deal with Islamic Republic. It didn't happen because Islamic regime tries to waste time. It's been 27 years that the Islamic Republic of Iran tried to waste the time, kill the time, and eventually President Trump said, if you hit the protesters, if you don't sign the deal, if you want to waste the time, we're going to hit back. And after that, because he didn't do anything, Iranian people started chanting his slogans, urging President Trump to act, to deliver his promise. It took 2 months until he delivered his promise, and he intervened in terms of military strike jointly with Israel. So, and another point is, these strikes are not aiming at regime change. President Trump was very clear from day one that they are not going for regime change. It's in the hands of people of Iran to do the regime change. So it is us. We just want those suppressive regime agents, suppressive departments and agencies and forces be removed. And after that, our people, our opposition, and our leaders will be able to build transitional government, and there is a plan for that already, and call for a referendum. And the people will be able to vote for their choice of government. So, see, this is a totally different situation than what happened in Afghanistan and Iraq. And it's not even comparable. For those people who don't understand the situation, and I advise them to watch the developments closely, news, and what's happening in Iran.
All right, Ardeshir, thank you so much for your time and expertise in sharing us your view and helping us understand a little bit more of the Iranian-Canadian community as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your great work.